Welcome to a short training session on buying a domain name for your new business. Just jump onto Morningstar Domains, that's morningstardomains.com.au, and to get started, just drop down to finding your perfect domain name. Hopefully you've done a bit of research and found a name that's available in terms of there's no ABNs or existing businesses out there registered in it, and the name is fairly unique. So I've just thrown in Beyond Transfers, and we're just going to do a quick check to make sure that name is available. What you've got is a number of different domain name extensions. So here's the availability. In this case, it's a good name that's available. Beyondtransfers.com.au would be generally the first choice for a business based in Australia. Search engines and customers can see, .com.au, yes, it's an Australian business. As you can see, there are other options like .net.au, .net.com, etc. But our general recommendation is to start with the .com.au to keep it simple. So you found the domain names available and you just click on the buy button. Now what we're going to do, we're going to put your registered details in. Okay, well, you are going to do this. The domain name is one of your digital assets. It's a business asset. Domain names can sell for or even hundreds of thousands of dollars if it's a great domain name, okay? So it's important we register it and verify it, that it's your name and that you have control over it. So with the domains configuration, my recommendation is just to ignore the other options here. Hosting we'll organise separately through Morningstar Digital, so don't worry about that. Just register for 1 year initially if you like. That's probably an easy way to go, and we're just going to put in your details. You are the registrant, okay? So it's really important that you basically have it in your name. I have seen some domain names that are registered in IT people's names or web companies' names. That's a no-no, all right? So it's your business, and you put your full name in here, of course. Now, the Registrant ID, generally, you can see the ID type here is ABN. That's generally your starting point. Now, in this case, I've done a bit of an ABN search to check. There's an ABN where Beyond Transfers is registered as a business name. So we know we've got the right ABN. So I'm just going to copy that and just drop it in. There we go. And now we're going to the eligibility name. Now, this is the name that relates to the domain name. It doesn't always have to be an exact match. But in this case, Beyond Transfers is the full name. And in this case, the ID is again simply the ABN. And the type is, there we go, Australian business number. So they're the details. And as far as the type goes, it's a company or trust that owns the ABN. It might be other things like a sole trader or a church group or anything else, or a partnership. So that's where you put the kind of entity that owns this. Now, eligibility reason is what that means is that Beyond Transfers, in this case, the domain name is an exact match to the business trading name. Sometimes, however, you might have a name that is very long, and what you do with the domain name is an abbreviation of that. So the first option here is tick domain name is an exact match or abbreviation or acronym of your entity, like it might be the letters KFC, for example. The other option is close or substantial connection between the domain name and the operations of your entity. And this is where you might get, shuttleservice.com.au. That's not the business name, but it could be a good domain name to come up on Google searches. So that's what that means. That's just to explain that you want a close connection, or in this case, it's an exact match. Now, the name service is how you tell the domain name to point to where the website's going to live if you're talking about website hosting. The domain name can also be used for emails, and you can have email hosting somewhere separate. That is an option. In this case, the default is the Morningstar Domains. If that's going to be different, you can change that at any stage. So you put in your registrant details. You now go to your basically your shopping cart, and you may other domain names are doing other generally in this case it's other domain names we're talking about on the Morningstar Domains site. Some people like to buy the .com, the .net. As a general rule, I don't see the need for that unless you're really talking about a bigger business. So there's the charge. Very low price for the first year. Renewal at $49.95, but a great deal for year one. And you just confirm that it is beyondtransfers.com.au in this case, and then just go to the checkout. Now, with the checkout, you're going to be putting in your own personal details. I won't worry about putting all these details in for my customer here. But what we've got is a checkout where you're going to put in first name, last name, email address, phone number, a billing address. So just your normal things. We don't need that email there. That was a previous domain name I did for a customer. Now, domain registrant information. What you're putting here is you're basically going to able to confirm a password for yourself. You've got an account for your domain name. Username is generally your email, and that is what you use to tell people like your IT company, hey, here's my domain name registration, or you can go in and manage your domain name. So if you're happy with that, you then put in your payment details and complete the order, and it's as simple as that.